Hello, everyone. I am so sorry that I screwed up the time. I'm in two different time zones. I don't know what's going on with me today, but clearly senior moments are happening. Welcome to my guests, Adrian from Lentil Healing, Johnie from Tarot's Apprentice, and Seanna Rose, Metaphysical. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's do some housekeeping. What's going on, Adrian, for the rest of the week?
I thought I was on mute, and I'm glad, and I wasn't. So I'm glad I didn't have a noise that came out right now because I'm trying to post and tell everybody we're live. And
thank you
so much for noise. This week, tonight I'm here. Yay! Friday nights we're going to be live on Johnny's channel for Friday Night Reads. And then Saturday night is our horoscope reading. So my channel, I think this Saturday is going to be 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So join us on Friday night with Johnie, and Thursday, good Lord, Mary, Mother, and Joseph. Saturday night on my channel, horoscopes.
Okay, Johnie, what's happening with you this rest of the week? Except for Friday, we already know.
Friday will be on my channel for our non-political or Friday night reads. I'll start saying that instead of non-political. Friday night reads, and then on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, this Sunday, we will be doing our tarot talk, where we will be talking. We'll have some questions about tarot and the tarot community that might hit a little deep for some. Again, there is a disclaimer that I'll have to read at the beginning, just so nobody's feelings are hurt. So that what we'll be doing on Sunday.
What's the disclaimers? Like, if you think I'm talking about you, I am.
Well, it's borderline because like some of the questions, like the first one, I think, is, do you believe in nice wash decks, which are decks that take the tower and call it something special or something non-confrontational. It's stuff like that. And some people like that, and some people believe that the Three of Swords is not always the Three of Swords. It's not always heartbreak. So I don't want to say that your belief system is invalid just because we don't believe it. So you still believe what you want to believe, so our opinions are our own and yours are yours. So that type of thing. That's all.
Sounds great.
And this Sunday, because I thought it was next Sunday, and I had.
It's the 3rd of.
Well, that would be this Sunday. I thought it started next Sunday, so you would have been like, Adrian, where are you? And be like, that was next Sunday. My bad.
And like me, I'm like, today is today.
I have invited you to, Tony. So
it's okay, Tony. We have days and weeks like that, Boo Boo Kitty. It's okay.
Oh God, I try to be so buttoned up, and when I'm not, it's like, oh. I tilt. I start to tilt. So today we're gonna look at how to interview. Yes.
You skipped Sienna.
Oh, Seanna Rose, I'm so sorry.
I was just waiting. That's totally okay.
No, what's going on for you?
Okay. I was like,
me, I'm just all out of sorts.
I'm just over here like, well, okay, I'll just wait my turn. I knew I would get a chance at some point here. Okay, so what am I doing this week? I'm still working on my Reiki curriculum. I finished the level 1 note. I'm really excited about that. I'm working on illustrations. So if anybody follows my Instagram, Seanna Rose Metaphysical, I know, really creative name. You might see some updates, some of my progress. And then Friday, we're going to be joining Johnie over on his channel. And I would like to do a medium reading on Saturday on my channel, but I have yet to decide who. But I got a lot of viewer requests for a certain person, and I think we're going to talk to her.
You've done Jim Henson?
I have done Jim Henson and Carol Spinney. Yep.
Oh, somebody else from Sesame Street just died. It was
Oh,
Louise.
the guy that was on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He might be nice
God,
to
he
you
was there
too, but-
so long. Those guys are they're just like lifelong. That's a lifelong job.
Yeah.
Changing children worldwide.
Well, I've had lots and lots of people ask for a medium reading for Betty White, and I think enough time has passed, and I get the feeling she'd be okay with it because I was writing, all these notes down, and I always kind of stop and pay attention when I'm thinking of doing a reading for someone. I try to get a feel of whether they're cool with it or not, and I just got like a shrug from her, like, okay.
Can I ask a question? Can you ask a question to Betty that I would like to know? And because I'm nosy, why did she pick December 31st, 2021? Why? Because she had not just hung out like another week and a half.
Good question.
Can you ask her for me and just tell her Adrian wants to know?
I think a lot of people want to know.
Okay, because that was very interesting. Like that timing was very interesting.
Very.
She speaks more fondly about, well, not more fondly, but, well, I'm going to just say more fondly about the Mary Tyler Moore show or whatever she did before the Golden Girls than she did the Golden Girls. I wonder if she liked that more than the other.
That's because her and B. Arthur did not get along. B. Arthur.
No, they were not friends.
Really?
Oh, B. Arthur.
B. Arthur didn't like her.
Very, very jealous and very, from what I've read, very jealous and very just. Well, and their personalities just didn't go together. Some people just don't mesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she liked that character more on the Mary Tyler Moore show than Rose.
Because she said Sue Ann Nivens was more of how she was in real life. Because Sue Ann Nivens was a hoe.
And she auditioned for Blanche, and she got Rose.
She got Rose. Yeah, because you said Sue Ann reminded her more. Sorry, huge Betty White fan. Forgive me, y'all. Sue Ann reminded her more of her who she related more to Sue Ann because that's how she was in her like early 20s, like she first got into Hollywood. So she saw a lot of her story. She said that's why that character. Like she said, it wasn't even like acting for her, which Rose was. She said Rose was it was hard character.
Oh, well, she did such a great job at
like
it.
Gene Stapleton and
so
I think her
funny.
name Gene Stapleton and Edith Bunker. They, completely opposite people, but that was the acting challenge there.
No,
Even Gene Stapleton's voice.
Acting like you don't want to slap the other people that you're stuck with.
I know there's this actor on this show called Supernatural, and he's an angel. I can't remember the character's name, but he speaks like this all the time. And that's not his voice. If you've seen this actor before, he has a beautiful voice. And he was like, my voice is ruined because of all the years of doing that voice. It's been really hard and hard to get back to the place where you were because the vocal cords, they're very delicate.
He does Optimus Prime. As he said the same thing because his voice is kind of like that, but he has to speak a lot deeper to be Optimus Prime. And he said the first month and a half, then he had some bleeding in his throat. It's like it's like
Oh
I'm thinking, how many millions of my pay did they have to add on my paycheck for me to risk my physicals? Like
yeah, no kidding.
You don't want to get nodes on your cords. It's bad. It's bad. It's hard to get rid of.
I think that's what. I think that's what happened with Miley Cyrus too, and she had to have surgery, and she's still amazingly able to sing. But her speaking voice is so much different now.
Adele naturally cannot hit those notes.
I think she had nodes.
She did. Yeah.
Yep.
It's sad. I mean, you sort of run that risk when you don't warm up, when you don't, take care of your voice, when you don't, when you try to whispering is really bad for your voice. If you want to do a stage whisper, you don't go all the way to, you have to go to, so you can have some power behind it because the whispering thing really does a number on your vocal cords. Okay, so now everybody knows about singing.
All of this hurts.
They got to do it all the time. They have to be loud, and they have to,
Yeah, and that belting is hard. If you don't have it, if you got to pull it all the way up from the ting tang.
Well, I was gonna say from the glitter to the glitter. From the meow meow kitty. From the meow meow kitty.
You got to make that kitty sing.
Yes, girl.
That is a different kind of sentence, so we're gonna leave that alone.
I'm sorry, I don't know what I just said.
It's Tony's fault. She made me say it.
I'm glad I'm not monetized.
It's okay. YouTube likes that type of talk.
Apparently they do.
Well, people don't care what they say out in public anymore.
Paisley said purr, purr, purr.
There is something on YouTube, I ain't gonna tell y'all, but there is something on YouTube that would make everything we just said seem like Sesame Street. So
It's true.
Okay, never mind.
Hey, what is it?
And I'm embarrassed to say this out loud. I'm so embarrassed to say this out loud because of what I do for a living and what I've done for a living for the past almost 18 years. I'm in digital marketing, digital advertising, digital marketing. I started off in social media. Okay. I did not know. I was like week before last, years old when I found out that you can post pornographic movies and pictures on Twitter and it will not get taken down. I was like, am I watching?
Lord, shield my eye.
And there was no warning. There was no you must be.
There was no NSFW, no tag.
No, there was no. You have to. And I know because I know how in the background it's like once you set up your profile, you can do whatever. But I was still I still would have liked to be warned before an entire glockenspiel was posted on my Twitter.
Oh my God.
I'm embarrassed because I'm like, I do this for, but I'm like, I also don't create pornographic.
That's how I found it. Somebody I follow.
Obviously, that's not the type of stuff you seek out normally on social media.
So, and that also let me know that I'm not a nasty human being because I would have known that. Because I'd said that to a friend, you're like, where have you been? I'm like, oh, I know who you are now. I know who you are.
Speaking of voices, there's somebody I follow. If you ever heard a movie trailer, you heard his voice. And a lot of his friends are pornography film artist people because he's in LA, Hollywood. They all know each other. And he retweeted something from them, and I'm like, you ain't got to do a click button here type of thing. No.
I thought
You mean narrating one of their videos? I don't know.
I could have, and that's probably why I didn't know because I remember. Now, granted, this was a long time ago. We used to have to it would do the more on Instagram where it still content warning. Do you still want to? You had to do the.
There might be a nipple.
Or hey, are you sure you want to click on this account because you're going to see this man's glockenspiel and because I could have been out in the public and oh. Please don't arrest me for inappropriate behavior. I promise I was just looking at the Twitter. And
wait, it's just Twitter.
I say that to say, everybody in the chat, please monitor what your children or your grandchildren are doing on the socials because it's the wild, wild west out there. And
we just got ready to say that. The wild, wild west.
18 years old. Yes. I could be 10. Yes. And blah. Just
but still, watch.
Yeah, there's always click the box. Yes, I am 18, and they never check.
Never check.
On the internet, everybody is.
Now you don't even have to do that. That's a pure glockenspiel.
But we did that on YouTube. We always have to say, no, this is not for children. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do it, you get in trouble.
That's because Google was tracking children's behavior online for advertising purposes.
Which they shouldn't have been doing.
And then they got fined by the FEC hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And so then they cracked down on us so that the children's content is not put online. they got in trouble because they were tracking your children's behavior, whether your children was going to Nickelodeon.com or whoever.com. They tracking your kids and they got in trouble for it.
Had your kids, had your wife. By the way, I'm going to make this go full circle. We're talking about Betty White earlier. I learned the term glockenspiel from Rose Island on Golden Girls. There you have it. It came full circle.
I know.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking of the musical instrument of glockenspiel.
No.
To be fair, those are pretty big.
They are, which is probably where the joke came from.
And they're made of wood, which is definitely where the joke came from.
Betty White was very uncouth and sometimes.
She was oh my God, she was amazing.
Oh,
And the
so
work
good.
that she did with the LA Zoo was just like they loved her, just like she was the queen of the LA Zoo. And I can just imagine that all of those animals are just like everybody there is just like, oh, we lost our mascot. We lost our
On the bear.
yeah, we lost her. So you guys, what we're going to do today is Adrian and Johnie and Seanna Rose are going to teach us how to interview our decks. Do I sound like romper room? Romper stompers.
Well, I don't know how to do this either, so I'm going to follow y'all's lead.
Okay.
So, when you interview your decks, and I've done this for several years, so we all have, and we're going to demonstrate how to do it with you. We all have, so Johnie and I got the groovy weight. Sienna and Tony have their traditional rider weight, but that's all the rider weight system. You can all see it'll be the same cards, whatever. Every time I open up a pack of cards. Now, keep in mind, this interview is for tarot. Will not apply to Oracle. You can, but there's a whole different set of questions for Oracle. But we're going to focus primarily right now on the tarot. So, why interview a deck, you may say? Well, believe it or not, your deck has a personality, number one. Number two, there's sometimes just some questions you probably should not ask that particular deck. Not all decks handle the same readings the same way because deck reads and transmutes and transfers energy. So you want to make sure you're picking a deck, or you try to want to pick a deck that can help transfer that energy so you can be the proper conduit as a reader. And sometimes it's just funny, just to get. And it's a great way to help learn the tarot as well, because you're going to have to really know the card meanings for each card. So multiple reasons why to do it. I know, Sienna, you do it. Tony, you do it. Why do you guys interview your decks?
Just to sort of get to know them, sort of like because I mean, Johnie was telling the story about how how they tell you to, wrap it in black satin or whatever, black cloth, or, put it in a bag and put it under your pillow so that you can become sort of connected to it. But it's also good to ask it questions. I mean, why not?
What about you, Sienna?
I like to, well, it's the same reasons that you guys were talking about, but I want to add that I like to know which types of readings are appropriate for the deck and which types of readings the deck would rather, they would still answer, but another deck would do a better job. So, for example, with this rider weight, I've had this for years. I can read on basically anything with it. And that's just my connection with this deck. Now, I'm going to show you another deck that I have. This is the Rose Tarot. And I interviewed this one and asked the deck, what kind of readings do you not want me to do? And this deck does not like really dark things, like talking about war and death. And this deck also does not like sexual content. So meanwhile, this one, I've been able, I think maybe just because I've used it for so many different readings over the years, it's just cool with whatever. But some decks are very specific.
This deck, I cannot ask negative. It's the Starman Tarot. Cannot ask it anything negative. No matter what I do, it is going to give, it's either going to shut down or it's going to give a very positive answer to a very effed up situation, which could give somebody false hope. It just does not like, it just doesn't. It's like, no.
This deck, I can ask it anything. It'll tell it like it is. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. It's like, well, Seanna, you asked.
This one will sugarcoat because I'll ask the same question with another deck and it'll give, the tennis board's depth. Magician. This one is like Page of Cups. Lovers.
How many questions do you guys usually ask your decks?
I do the same set of questions, and there's normally 4 to 5. It just
I was just gonna say that about 4.
About 4 or 5. Let's actually do it.
What's your personality like? What kind of readings do you prefer? What kind of readings should we stay away from? What can I learn? I like to ask, what can I learn from working with you?
Let's do it. Let's start. So with each one of us, we're gonna ask the deck. Sometimes I say, give me your name or your personality, whichever one it wants to tell me first.
I'm going to pull one.
Okay. And you only pull... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Johnie.
No, you go ahead.
Because as soon as you said that, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot the big caveat to this. Some people pull, when they say you interview decks, you typically can pull a full spread, but most say one card because that card is the answer usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
My thing is, if another one jumps out with it, you keep that one too.
Yeah.
Which is actually what happened here.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Like I was telling y'all with that one that I just threw away, when I flipped up that 10 of swords, I'm like, okay, I get what it means, but give me another, because what the heck? And then the devil is like, okay, how many times are you going to ask? Okay, I got it. It's good. And then you asked again of another deck, and the devil went flying across the room. I'm like, okay, I got it. I got it the first time, but now I got it the second time too. So congratulations to me.
So what did your deck tell you, Adrian?
So 9 of Pentacles. So this just her. So to me, that's not her personality. It is her name, and it's Miss Independent. Because it's a woman holding, that is the 9 of Pentacles. So I immediately, as soon as I pulled the card, I heard Kelly Clarkson singing Miss Independent. So I'm like, that is the name of her deck. And if I had to tie it to what her personality, she likes to help. And it's so funny because I've done this interview with this deck and it's almost the same exact freaking cards. She wants to help people be self-sufficient and get answers so they can know which direction to move in, be independent, move independently.
Wow, Seanna, what's going? What?
Well, I had 2 cards jump out. So I have 9 of Wands and Page of Cups. This deck is telling me it can handle tough questions. It can handle all of the negativity that other decks may not be able to handle, but it also wants to offer advice and it wants to offer some positive encouragement, but it will tell you the truth. It'll try to do so in a nice way, but it will tell you what's up.
And Johnie?
I got the Page of Cups, and this is intuitive as well as highly creative, which makes sense for this in particular deck as it is a Rider-Waite, but it is different in its art style.
Yeah.
And there has been a couple of times where I have had a deck chooses the reading moment where the actual image said something different to me. And so it's not that it's just intuitive, but there is something to look forward to in the art as well, because it will actually give you the message pinpointed. So that makes sense.
Those cards are really pretty too. I love them.
No, that is a pretty deck. I want that deck.
I kind of want that too.
Ooh, what is that one?
That's from the 7 of Cups.
7 of Cups.
The
Oh.
Wheel of Fortune.
What was that, Adrian?
Wheel of Fortune. But I love it because Johnny's got the border with no names. Well, no, I think my 7 of Cups doesn't have this. Oh,
Yours
yeah.
is different? Oh, they're different.
I'm dumb. Forgive me. Because I pulled a major arcana. So, of course, it's got the. And Johnny's.
This is what I was looking for. In particular reading I did said that yes, they have some sort of offer. Because I wasn't really paying much attention to the card and like they got some sort of offer, but it's like withering away. And then I look at the thing and I'm like, oh, look at the pinnacle. So it's something in the art too, not just the cards.
What did you think, Johnny?
Can you hear me? I got the 8 of Wands. So this is a working deck. It works. It likes to work and likes to work fast. It works fast. And this one to bring out the mystery and answers that are deep, and it's all about consciousness. And I love that answer. Because it's, the why, it's because I'm more of a oracle person more than I am of a tarot person. But this is telling me that that I should probably be using this deck a little bit more. So
Use both.
that's great. So
What's number 2?
Second question is, how can we work well together?
Work well. I
I
mean,
had 2 come out. I keep getting 2 coming out.
mine just says work. Work with, temperance. Working well together is literally what that is for me. So it's, the relationship's kind of already there. And I believe my deck also notices this is balance and moderation. So out of the 260 decks that I've had, you're not going to be number 1 all the time. So it's like, just wait your turn.
Yeah.
Balance.
how about you, Seanna?
I had 2 cards come out again. They're both knights. I have Knight of Swords, and this is telling me not to rush through the readings with this deck. Sometimes, especially when I read on myself, sometimes I tend to jump to a conclusion of, oh, this card must mean this, where the deck is telling me, no, just take your time and listen to your intuition. What is that saying when you see these cards? Not just you see the imagery and just assume.
Adrian?
Stop working, Adrian. Sorry. Heard my work email. Bing! I was like, oh, it's me right now. 7 of Cups. She wants, best way we work well together is not to confuse people. 7 of Cups. But to clear up confusion. So to help quiet the noise is how she would phrase it. So confusion.
How about Johnie, did you go?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the card I got.
I have a good answer for why.
I do too. You go ahead.
Tell me what you think.
Me?
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that the deck wants me to know that I don't know. I don't know.
No, you know. You know.
Say it.
I don't know.
Want to know what I see?
Say it. Go ahead, because I see something really awesome.
It's
I do too.
you are to give people perspective.
Exactly. To help people see that, to stop focusing on what they've lost and to look at the beauty and the glory that there is still something that can be preserved.
That's nice.
Preserved.
So, but what do I do with this one?
That's perfect.
It's okay.
Well, see, now look at the devil
That's
card.
why this one was freaking me out, because I didn't know why this one came up.
Because look at the devil card for you. Like, turn around, look at it. The people with the chains on their neck, the chains are very loose.
Yeah, of course. They can get out if they want to.
Take it out.
Yeah.
You don't, the horns means that they're becoming more like the devil instead of human. And so she has grapes on her tail. That's her passion. He has fire on his. That's his passion. That they have this thing that blinds them to their humanity. And so there's still perspective in the devil and perspective in the 5 of Cups. You don't have to be chained to the things that's chaining you down. And you do not have to cry over spilled milk.
Wow, this deck is deep.
Not to mention, can I say one more thing too? tarot lesson for all those out there. In the 5 of Cups, the 3 cups that have fallen over, 2 of them have red liquid in the traditional Rider-Waite, and 1 has clear liquid. Now, the 2 red liquids, that's wine. The 1 clear liquid, that's water. So you lost what you wanted, not what you needed. You need water. You do not need wine. And so there's a perspective that needs to have. And then with the devil, you don't need wine. You need water. You need sustenance. Whatever the devil is offering you, I guarantee you, you do not need it.
What did you see, Seanna? Because you said you saw something too.
Yeah, I was going to say that life is not always easy, and that there sometimes suffering is part of it. That deck can also help us to understand the suffering that we go through, try to make sense of it, see what we can learn from it, and then know that it's going to be okay. These kind of situations don't always last forever.
But I think the deck knows that. I mean, I get this like feeling inside me when I like look at cards like this, because I don't want to give anybody bad news.
And as a reader, though, you can give them the bad news, but don't leave them on the sour note. Don't say, okay, you got the devil, have a nice day. It's like, so let's look into see what we can do to maybe overcome some of these challenges or whatever. You still put it in their lap because they still have to do it, but at least you didn't leave them with the despair. You know. And that fits you. So that's good that those pop up.
The next question is, what type of readings do you prefer? Or what type of readings work best? However you want to phrase it, or how did they actually phrase it? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect that one. Okay.
I'm going to pull another one because I don't.
I get readings that you cannot ignore. This is the 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups gives you something you don't want.
Ooh.
It's like,
you know what?
You got to say.
I blame Tony. I've caught whatever Tony has. When I said earlier, whatever that previous question was, which is like, what is your personality? It was, how can we work best together? I don't know why my ass saw a 7 and that's a 4. So I thought it was.
I saw 7 too, though.
When you put your
I had to look. I'm like,
when you put your card up, I was like, I get paid to do this.
even after I looked through here and showed y'all the 7 of Cups, I said, oh, that's the 7 of Cups. So maybe choices. And I'm like, no, wait. Roman numeral is okay.
Ooh, and the only reason I caught it is because the card that I pulled for this, I thought it was the 8, but it's the 7. So I was like, I really need to pay attention to this deck. And I was like, I'm sorry, Johnie, go ahead. Thank you for calling me out on being stupid. Would you even know you're calling me out on being
So that's what I get. I get this is what kind of readings would you prefer? The kind of readings where you may not want the answer, but you have to have it because it's your reality. So this is the hard hitting. So it doesn't mind a hard hitting question. And it wants to give you the thing that you cannot avoid because it wants you to try to fix it. So that's still a healing process in there, but you can't avoid it. It's yours. Because again, let me say this too. Tarot lessons for those out there. The 4 of Cups, this cup is not the same as like the Ace of Pentacles with the hand is open. That's an offer. This is handing it to you. There's a class, there's a possession, like the Ace of Wands. That's a possession. This is a possession is giving it to you. You don't have an option. So this is going to tell you, the 4 of Cups is telling you about your reality.
Yep.
This is what you're living in, whether you choose to see it or not. Big deal. Deal with it. And so then you, as the reader, say it's sweeter than that, but you know.
Deal with it. How about you, Seanna?
Well, I got the 8 of Cups, and I actually get a couple things. One, the deck says that it can handle readings that are actually quite far removed from what I have been using the deck for lately, which is a lot personal readings. I use this one for clients all the time, stuff like that. But the deck is saying it remembers the day when I used to do the political readings and some of the medium. I did medium reading on like Soleimani one time after he was killed, and the deck actually really liked that kind of thing, and I don't read on that stuff anymore. So the deck is like, it kind of misses it. But this deck is also good for readings where you have to make a tough choice and you have to abandon something. It's good at giving the advice on what you should do and why it might not be a bad thing to abandon something, depending on what it is.
Yeah, that's what I was picking up when you saw
Adrian,
that. Situations where where the client, the querent, whomever, I don't read all myself with this deck, but whoever is having to defend, having to navigate a very slippery, difficult situation, it likes to help with that, to kind of bring that, this is how you stand guard, this is how you tell people to stand down. It likes the drama, girl. It says bring on the drama.
I got the 4 of Cups as well. And then I got the 9 of Cups. I'm like, so it likes to tell you what you need to know, right? What you need to know. And it likes to tell you what you want to know. So
it's like an okay balance.
It's a full service. We're giving you full service.
But again, that's how I think personally, that's how you should do a reading. Like, don't leave people on despair.
Exactly.
Like, tell them this is how you could possibly fix it. It still may not be the most ideal situation, but at least you put a little step forward somewhere. You know, that's good.
This is fun. I like this.
We'll do one last question. I say this is always the key. I always say, if you're going to ask what we can read on, what do you want? What type of readings do you want me to stay away from? And it's funny how many tarot interview question spreads I have seen online in books, and they rarely include the question. And I'm like, no, you kind of need to ask. That's like dating someone and just ignoring all the red flags.
Strength, which means don't read on health. This is an indication for that, which I'm totally okay. Now, mind you, let me say this too, just while we're on this subject. I got this deck here, and the lady who makes the deck, she shuffles a separate deck, and the card that pops out, she says that's an energy for your deck, or a card that needs to, well, I don't know, something like that, she said. The 9 of Swords flew out for her. And so I have 2 of them because, like I said, she shuffles a separate deck. And so the 9 of Swords flew out for this deck. I just thought I'd add that to the conversation. But I pulled another card on it from a separate deck, and it made sense. It was focus, because the 9 of Swords can be high anxiety. So something you're, as it is there, something you're not focusing on the reality. You're focusing on whatever the machinations are in your head. So
it doesn't want you to do the okie doke stuff.
Yeah. Focus.
Mine is 8 of Swords, situations that cannot be approved upon due to somebody's own. So if people aren't willing to do the work, then it's going to know, and it's going to say, don't stop. It only wants to help or provide clarity and insight to people or things that are willing to listen.
That's going to be one of those decks where no matter what you pull, you don't get an answer to the question. It's going to tell you something that's like, no, they need to focus on this. Okay, let me try it again. No, they need to focus on this. Okay.
What'd you get, Seanna?
I got the Justice card, and this deck is telling me that it does not want me to read on things like, modern, like recent true crimes. So no murders, no missing persons. It doesn't want me to look at that. I even tell clients I don't read on that stuff. I put a boundary there. Some people are comfortable with it, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
If somebody has already died and crossed over, I could do a medium reading, but don't ask me if I can tell you whether or not your loved one is still alive, because we're not going to get it with this deck anyway.
Hmm. I got the Knight of Swords, so I it just feels like doesn't want to read on war and fighting and that kind of thing. No war, and when that's good, I love that.
It's like I don't do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to read on war.
That's depressing.
Do we have any other questions to ask our cards?
Those I just kept it high level. You can go a lot deeper if you want but I just like to do because sometimes I'm super like, oh, I got a new toy, I want to play with it. And so I will but I'm like, Adrian, stop. At least ask these 4 basic questions before you just start throwing cards down.
Nice. That was fun. We could do that for any new deck. So now you guys know how to do it. So you don't have to ask us. Ask your own deck. Ask your own deck those questions. What is the difference between esoteric tarot and fortune telling?
The name to me.
Yeah.
The
I
name?
mean, if you're delving into a person's energy to pull out an answer, it's the same thing.
Mm.
You may have a different method to where you to close your eyes psychic to where I'm getting and I'm feeling and I'm hearing and my guides are saying and God is telling me, like the prophets say, or you got a tool to get there. It's still the same thing to me.
Yeah. So, but the crystal ball thing, we
Some people do, but it's different than that clear ball. Some people do crystal gazing, which you have to have a darker ball to do, but it's still the same thing. If you're in somebody's energy pulling at an answer, it's ultimately the same thing to me.
I think fortune telling requires more like making predictions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel a little, I don't know. I like sort of delving into issues and things like that, but to tell someone that this is absolutely going to happen to them, or I just don't feel comfortable with that because I just don't, I feel the energy always changes. Energy is constantly changing. So what I say today may not even be in your sphere of reality tomorrow. So you can only sort of give guideposts about where you think or where the cards are saying or where your crystal ball is saying or what your runes are saying, whatever. But, energy is just always changing. So it's just a little hard for me anyway to put like.
I always like to let clients know that the outcome of a reading is not permanent, written in stone. Some things can be changed depending on your own free will decisions and the free will decisions of others. So sometimes things will change within your control or outside of it. This is just telling at this moment right now, this is most likely what's going to happen. Doesn't mean 100% it will. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. My answer is kind of between Johnny's and Seanna's. It's just depending on how you look at the reading and how you look at define each topic. I have like 5 fortune telling decks, and Kipper is actually supposed to be a fortune telling deck. And even when I will not read on people, I will read on like super fluffy situations because I don't want to take on that karma. So I'm very specific about setting that boundary.
So I know you don't really do oracle cards. You used to, Johnie, right? But you guys do oracle cards. And do you do the same kind of spread with your cards that you do with your tarot oracle cards that you do with your tarot cards? Do you do the 7 spread, or what kind of spread do you use? I mean, do you differentiate between oracle and tarot? What kind of spread you use?
The only non-tarot cards I use sometimes in a spread are the rune cards, because runes are specific. Oracle can be very broad, so it can say, oh, mending, and you can go down the street with that word and do all kinds of things and have all kinds of readings. Runes are specific. If it's this, it's this. So I can do that because that's kind of what the tarot is too. Like the sun does not mean heartbreak, and you can't flip it and change it to mean that. And so since it means what it means, I can put those runes in a Celtic cross and do a spread that way. But that's very rare. Sometimes with Oracle, you just pull one or two and get the message, move on.
And do you do reversals? Some people do. No.
I think reversal, personally, they're unnecessary because the spread is going to tell me if it's negative or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people who do reversals do so because they need the specific, because tarot is broad, so they're trying to specify whether this is happy or not, because my sun is reversed. But reversals are also personal. And so there is no blanket meaning for sun in reverse. There is for sun upright. Happiness, contentment. It does not mean heartbreak, and you can't turn it to mean that unless you reverse it, and then it's going to mean whatever you said it is. And so that's why I don't need 156 cards. Already got 78.
Right, I have my cousin. I love her so much. I'm talking shit about her on YouTube, and I can tell her this to her face. She is actually a pretty talented tarot reader. However, she has a dependency still on using the book, using a guide, because she will not stop reading in reverse. And I said, Heifer, you got to get the first 78 down in the context of a spread before you truly should be moving on to being able to read in reverse. That's a lot. You put in a lot. I know your brain. I love you, but you're the cousin that the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. Sometimes we have to kind of help pull you up.
I relate.
So you probably are maxing your brain out a little bit.
You missing the floor.
I do read reversals, but I didn't start doing it right away. I didn't start doing it until I was a lot more confident with the upright meanings. And to me, a reversal versus upright just shows the extent of the card. So, for example, okay, we got 8 of Cups. All right. Somebody's leaving, whatever. Maybe they're sad about it. You know, depends on what I'm getting intuitively. If it's in reverse, it's leaving, but they feel differently about it than you would expect. You know, that's just an example.
And see,
or like the sun, upright happiness, upside down, still happy, but could be happier. Doesn't mean total sadness. It means happy, but there could be room for improvement. You know?
How can you improve on happy?
Gratitude. That's what.
There's a whole book that says more happy than not. Let's check it out. John, you were going to say something.
Well, like, okay. For instance, the sun reversal, like she said, you could be happier, or you could be happy in a different way, or looking at it a different. Some people would say sun upright is happiness, reverse sadness. And
it's already sadness cards.
That's why I don't use reversal. That's why that's already a sadness card. And for the 8 of Cups, it could be arrival instead of leaving. Or some sort of dedication to something instead of abandonment. But 8 of Pentacles is dedication. So it's...
Or 8 of Cups reverse is like stepping away from something temporarily, but not necessarily leaving it forever. It also depends on what your intuition is telling you based on the situation and the stuff you're reading on too.
Which is why I don't read reverse.
You can do a good Celtic cross or you have a prescription for a good spread. The answer is going to be the same regardless.
It's true.
If you're listening and you're connecting and you're reading what you're reading,
you get to the same answer eventually at some point anyway. So it's depending on what path you want to take.
But I do admire those who can read reversal, though, because I do like to watch people who read reversal and see the answers they get. It's interesting because my brain doesn't flip that way, so it's nice to see somebody else do it.
And then Tony, you were asking about oracle cards, and I was going to say I prefer tarot over oracle. But when I read oracle cards, I usually just do one to sum up the reading or to give advice, or it's like information for the day. Sometimes with oracle cards, I'll do maybe a 4-card spread, but I often don't really use spreads anymore. Even with tarot, Sometimes I still use tarot spreads, but sometimes I don't feel like I need to. Sometimes I feel it's just, if it's like one or two quick questions, I can just put some cards down.
So I've seen so many different kinds of spreads. I mean, like there was a reader who was laying out, like she started one card, then two, and then three, and then it would get bigger and bigger, and then she'd have an explanation for each of them, each line, and or there's like 6 across, three layers. But I mean, it's everybody has their own way. But like, what is your favorite spread to use when you're doing a reading for someone, Adrian?
Spirit will tell me.
Yeah.
And honestly, it depends. I had a client last night, and she's like, I noticed you did a bunch of different, like you didn't stick with the same spread. I said, yeah, because we were talking about different questions, different topics. Sometimes I need to, clarify. I would just know after like Johnie says, we channel, so I'm not even aware that I'm doing it. I just do it, and I'm like, oh, okay. And by the way, Seanna, I like Oracle more than I prefer Oracle over Tarot.
Oh,
Me
that's
too.
fine. Yeah.
Me too. You guys down there, you tarot.
The tarot kids.
We're the tarot table.
And then
You guys are the Oracle table.
Oracle children.
Yeah. So okay. So does it matter if you shuffle the cards?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, it does.
Because I see some people go to clear their cards. So,
but if you still have the cards left over from a past reading and those come up again, how do you know those are supposed to be in your other reading?
And let me tell you something too. I don't know if it's my anxiety. I don't know, because I'm so scared I'm gonna pull the same damn ones. I will not. I literally. It's like, okay, there's this running joke that says Black people, we don't measure when we cook. We just stop when spirit and our ancestors tell us to stop. It is the same thing for me when I shuffle. That's why I have to go on mute 90 times. And y'all never see my hands, because what you don't see is me doing this 150,000 times. And so spirit has told me to stop. Or sometimes I'll be real cute and be like, y'all go ahead, because I'm still freaking shuffling. I don't know why. It is something in my bones that's like, don't stop yet. Don't stop yet. I will not stop until there's something in me that says, go ahead and stop.
Because you're not supposed to.
Yep.
Because if you stop, well, the thing is, when you're shuffling cards, the cards, especially the way you pick the cards, if you do the fan out and pick, or if you pick from the top, they have to be in a certain position for you to get the answer spirit wants you to get. You don't know, because you're looking at the back of the card. But your channeling, your guide knows what card is on top and what card is on bottom.
And they know where you're going to pick from.
And they know where you're going to pick from. So in order for you to get that answer, because mind you, it answered you, you may have interpreted it wrong or whatever, but it gave you the answer that to the question you just asked. Mm-hmm. And so you cannot quit shuffling until it tells you to stop, because that's where the cards are supposed to be.
Like, I have tried to lay out the cards like you do, Johnie, and I know you do the same thing, but do you do the flourish thing? Seanna, do you do that as well?
I don't like fan them out necessarily. I can do, like, what Adrian was saying with that, where I don't know what it's called, but the cards make a sound.
The tarot fart sound.
Yeah, basically. And then I shuffle like this. Some of it too is because I'm a huge fidgeter. I need something in my hands. I need either to bounce my leg or be doing something physical with my body to like listen and retain the information. But then after I fan them out like this in my hand, and I always pull out of the middle. And my guides know, oh, she pulls from the middle every time.
I'm sorry.
Like with Tony's, you do this, and then you take the one that's sticking up.
Yeah.
And then that's your card. It's like, you have your routine and your method.
Or if any fall out. If any fall out during shuffling, then I keep them. Unless it's like half the deck, and that's just crappy shuffling on my part. But you always get that feeling of whether or not those are supposed to be out or not.
The only ones that I fan out are the chakra cards, and I fan them out, and when I fan them out, the first one where I can see the little flower of life in the, the first time I can see the flower of thought, that's my card. That's the card that I should pick. And my husband was like, you always pick from the same place every time.
Because the card you need is in that place.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't even realize that was going on. So it does matter if you shuffle, because for me, shuffling is like cleaning the slate. You clean the slate from the previous reading. So in order to clean the slate, you just shuffle the cards and, something falls out. So what trends and tropes annoy you the most about the tarot?
When they try to like really sweeten up difficult cards. So like decks that I swear I was telling you guys about this off camera the other day or whatever. But like my first deck I ever had was I don't know, some kind of angel deck, and instead of swords, it was unicorns. Like swords are not that scary, first of all. And like, okay, whatever. Sometimes in the traditional tarot, your 10 of swords card, okay, some people who aren't familiar with it, that's a little scary. Then they get the reassurance from the reader, here's what it actually means. I just don't like when decks really sugarcoat that, or like the devil was renamed the ego, or like, other justice was like balance or something like that. They change the names to make it seem more sweet and uplifting. I get why they do it, but life isn't always like that. Sometimes you have to accept that your situation is crap. And then you go on from there. You got to do what you can to go on from there. The card should be able to help with that, instead of just going, oh, no, you're fine, sweetie, you're fine. Sometimes you're not fine.
Yeah.
And rant.
That's so true. What's yours, Johnie?
Decks that change all the names. I can't and I won't. If I have to now, like I go through the Etsy or something, I'm looking for a deck and they got all the majors listed or something like that. Okay. You gave me the hook and the okie doke, but then I get to your 4 of trees and your 5 of tree stumps and then your 6 of leaves. And I have a lot of decks and I don't always remember from deck to deck what the page, the knight, the queen, and the king mean in your deck because you changed the names. And so I literally either take them out or I just throw the whole thing away. I can't. You can't keep confusing like the Rain Virtue, Angel, Archangel Tarot. It's like the 7 of Winds.
I hated the Archangel's Tarot.
And the 5 of Autumns. And the 7 of Rivers.
The 7 of Raphaels.
Like get out of I can't.
I love this deck. But I can't use it because I don't know how to read it.
It's all herbs.
All herbs.
Ain't no people, ain't no animals. It's all herbs.
It's all herbs, but it's, and it's in Spanish as well. So this is the Hija of Earth, it's a beautiful card, but I don't know what that means. And I can't even sort of intuit what it means through the picture. Or when I look at it and I don't feel anything, I go, well, okay, this is a hard situation to get out of. I would say that.
At that point, you're treating it like an oracle more than a tarot deck.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be swords, right? The calandura of air. So it's supposed to be, but they're scythes.
Calandura isn't that the grandfather or somebody? It's one of them. I forget. That's why I threw the court cards away because I don't remember. I don't speak Spanish.
Like,
so
I understand some
yes,
decks
Teresa,
will
that's what it
use,
says.
some decks will use the elements instead of the symbols. So like to me, just because I know what each one's supposed to be, that's fine. But decks that change everything completely, it's like, what is this? The one exception, though, is the Native Spirit Tarot, because all the other ones are like the same. And I think pentacles and coins are interchangeable.
Right.
Instead of, I think it's swords, they use arrows.
Arrows.
Yeah, arrows.
I'm cool with that. I figured that one out right away because that was the only one they changed. The rest were fine.
Mhm.
But it's when they change all of them. It's like,
Yeah.
what is the 7 of mermaids versus the 6 of Cookie Monster? Like,
No, there's this other deck that I really like. I've had it for almost 20 years. Really don't use it all that much, and it's this
I can't put that either.
Native American tarot.
Mhm. I have that.
You have this one?
Mhm. It's
Do you
in.
use it?
Nope, not yet. It's still. It's sitting in the.
I can't use it. It's like looking at blank paper to me. I don't know what it is. It's just,
Mhm.
maybe I should have interviewed that one. Who is you?
And what do these cards mean? Purple Buddhist woman. I hate it. Oh, this is gonna sound so awful. When the artist takes a little too much creative freedom with the cards, so therefore when I look at it, it is like there's really in-depth painting that completely distracts from the. And I'm not saying, and that's why I feel hypocritical, because like that is the beauty of tarot decks, because you can change to whatever you want it to look like. See, that's normal. Like that's beautiful. That is pretty easy to figure out.
that's really pretty.
This is the Empress,
Oh, wow.
not the 5 of Dragons. It's so I get what you're saying. It's like,
It's
what were you saying in this picture?
It's too much. It is just my brain is like.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to pack so much stuff into one card, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to pack everything, all of your ideas. Make a different deck. Make more than one deck.
Or just be an artist. Yeah. Just go and commission a piece and put it in the Guggenheim if that's what you really want to do. But ooh, Lord Jesus, it's just a little too much for me sometimes.
So why do people pull clarifying cards?
I did that when I was really new to tarot because I felt I needed that extra help. And then the only times I do it now is if like a client, I pull like the Tower, the Devil or something. I always pull an extra one. Well, okay, what specifically is this referring to? Or it's like, what can you do about it? That's normally the only time I do clarifiers now, is so that I don't leave somebody on like a really scary card that, you know, when really they shouldn't be that worried about it.
Yeah. How about you, Adrian?
When the answer is ambiguous.
Yeah.
That's you.
Like, the outcome card is the 7 of Cups, but the question we asked would not yield. The 7 of Cups doesn't make no damn sense. I may pull because I'm like, okay, well, will I get the job? And the outcome is the 7 of Cups. Okay, no, because that's a bad example, because there'd be like multiple offers. Okay, hold on. Let me come up with a better example. But basically, when the answer,
like the moon is something like that.
I will just pull just a couple just to kind of get a little, to see if we can go a little bit, get that answer then, or do we need to dig further and ask another question on top of that?
Because I've seen people who have their cards, like, you know, they put they shuffle and then they put their cards down and then they start drawing from the top, right? And so then what they get to, then we do what's on the bottom of the deck, right? And then we do, like, if you pull one clarifying card and it's not clear, you pull another and then you go, well, that, and then there's that. So how many clarifying cards is the number that is acceptable to pull for a reading?
I was taught 3. And if you can't pull, if you have to pull more than 3, then you need to re-ask the question. I don't know where I learned that years ago, and that is just something I stuck with. No more than 3. You can do 1, 2, but once you get to 3, boo boo. Start or that answer is not to be given at this time.
Or you got to reword the question. You got to ask it a different way, because you're asking maybe something that the tarot can't really answer. Like, for example, yes or no. You can sometimes get an answer, but sometimes there's more to it than just yes or no.
Exactly. What about you, Johnie?
Why you pull a clarifier? I mean, sounds simple, but to clarify, like, why are you here? Especially if you get a positive reading, you got one card that seems a little out of place. Like, why are you here? And just throw a card on it. And yes, I recommend 2, 3 is the most. If you pull outside of that, you're doing a whole nother reading at that point. So just pull 3 at the most. Stick with 1 or 2 if you can, but pull that third if you have to, because a lot of times what happens is you'll pull and you'll understand at least somewhere where it's going, then you'll pull another, and then it's like, okay, what? So, try to stick with the least amount, and then maybe if you're still not clear, just rephrase your question. But yeah, that's what I say.
Tony,
You're muted.
So in the cross, what do you call it? The Celtic cross. The position that's over the quadrant and what's crossing them, that position. So a lot of people say what's in the sky, or what that positioning. What do you pull?
So here's the thing though with the Celtic cross. The Celtic cross is a shape of a tarot spread. The positions, you do whatever you want to, because they're going to be, you can find 900 different readers and they all got 900 different positions for their Celtic cross. It's not set in stone. Tarot spreads themselves, you can make them up all on your own, because it's just, what information do you want? As I said to someone, if you're buying a car, okay, I want to know how much it costs, what color, what size. Okay, make a tarot spread. This card is for color, this card is for cost, this card is for size. Boom, you just made a tarot spread. So don't put so much in what all of that is, because it changes, but the card in the sky changes too. People say it's subconscious, it's your grounding thoughts, is your don't put so much weight into the positions, because you can change them. It's all on you.
You can change them from reading to reading, topic to topic.
Yes.
Something that I took Johnny's Patreon class a couple years ago after like reading tarot for a couple years and being like, I did it, but it's not like clicking. I feel like it could click a little bit better, And so, I loved what Johnie taught was like the cards together have to tell a story. It's got to make sense. And you got to not modify, but it's like, it just has to tell a story. And you're not going to say the blue dog ate purple chips. That doesn't make sense. But if you're like the brown dog prefers Alpo, that makes a little bit more sense. So you just have to keep. So that's why I'm going what Johnie says, it could change whatever the spread has to, you make the spread your own. Kind of that same thing. Whatever you need to do to make it a cohesive story that makes sense, rock with it.
Yes.
You're muted.
Sorry. My husband was in the cabinet. When you guys are doing readings for clients, do you let them see the cards when you're laying out the cards, or do you hold up the cards so that they can see them, But do you feel like watching the spread happen allows you to sort of feel the story more than you might if you were just holding up the cards for them to see? I mean, maybe the connection or whatever. I don't know if that's a cogent question, but I just sometimes that when I look at a spread and it just feels like the story is right there. So I don't know. Do you allow the client to see the spreads that you put down?
No. Now, the reason is, from person to person, some people, I know when I do my readings on YouTube, some people don't like this and me hold it because they like to see the cards. I get it. But at the same time, if I'm doing a personal reading, I'm not teaching you anything. And this is not a visual aid. This ain't show and tell. I don't need to show them to you at all, but I am going to hold it up because it's habit now at this point that when I'm talking about this, to hold it up and show it to you. You don't know what this is. I mean, you may be a tarot reader and then you know what it is. But if I hold up a 8 of coins or 8 or whatever, you probably don't know what that is. And you're probably not really interested that much in what it is. Answer my question. That's what I want you to do. And so for me, you don't need to see the cards all spread out and laid out because you don't know what it is anyway. And so I am going to do the explaining. Therefore, I'm going to hold them up and show you, but you probably still don't care to even see them. You just want to know what the answer is. So I don't feel the need to go up and down with the camera and all this carrying on because no, I'm going to hold it up and tell you, and you're going to live with it at the end.
Okay, Adrian.
I'm the exact opposite. When I have a reading with a client, we will start like this. I have a completely different stand that I use when I do client readings. And then once we do the beginning part, that's out of the way, I tilt the camera down. And from that on out, you're seeing the cards, you're seeing everything. Because I'm telling you, this is what you're paying for. You're paying for a tarot reading. When I'm explaining the cards, we're doing it together so you're seeing. And so it's just, it helps to, I don't know, I feel like that's what you're paying for. And then they always get a recorded link. So you can go back and see, oh, she said the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. And I see her pointing to it. And it's part of these. I just want to create an experience.
Seanna?
Well, it depends on the type of reading because I offer either on video or email. Email readings, I always take a picture of the spread, or at least, this column or this row is answering question 1. This row answers question 2. I always show that. But when I'm talking to clients just on video, it depends on how I'm feeling that day. There was in the last year, there were a lot of days I didn't feel well. So I would just show the cards and my hand. Most of the time I prefer to show my face because of the social aspect of it. So sometimes if it's just a view of the cards, of course they're going to see the spread and all of that. But a lot of times I do very similar to Johnie where it's like I show them the cards, I explain it. If they're not familiar with tarot, I'll explain it just really quick what that card usually means and then how it applies to their situation.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, it just depends. I'm kind of a mixed bag.
I have had people tell me, you look very different in a personal reading. I said, yes, because I'm not wearing makeup. I can wear
Same.
makeup when I do YouTube. You're not paying for my face and for the laughter. You're paying to get the answers to your questions. So the fact that so that's so cute. You're basically saying I'm ugly, and you're not paying for me to look. You're paying for me. Thank you. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Don't come for me.
And you know what? With clients, they look normal on camera. If they want to just look normal when they're talking to me on camera, I think it's okay for me to look normal talking to them. And if that means not wearing makeup like I do in my videos and stuff, or then whatever. I like to be as relatable to other people as possible too.
Yeah. So are you very, very strict, you guys, about your timing? Do you cut it off at 30 minutes or at an hour, or do you, if it's juicy and sort of something you can really bite down on, do you give it more time, or does the clock just cut it off right there at 30 minutes or an hour? Do you do hour readings?
I do 1 hour. I do half an hour or 1 hour. And when it comes to, I like to give clients a heads up. Okay, we got about 20 minutes left. Okay, we got 15 minutes left. We got 10 minutes left, whatever. We have time for one more question. I try to let them know so that I prefer not to go over if I have somebody else that I got to talk to after, or if I have something else to do after. But if we go like maybe 5 minutes over the time, that's okay. As long as they don't take advantage of it and go, oh, she will always let me go 5 minutes over, because no, I won't. Only sometimes. if it's something really, really important. If it's something like you just, you want to know that much more, book another reading. Just book an extra half hour. Or, I can send you an email reading to summarize things that we didn't have time for or whatever.
Yeah. What about you, Adrian?
This is why Red Lentil Healing always runs in a deficit, because I am very bad at, I always go a little over. You're getting not just a tarot reading, we do shamanic sound, we do a lot in that hour. And I also I'm really bad with boundaries. And a lot of my tarot sessions end up being more like therapy sessions for the client. So I'll let them talk. And in the back of my mind, like, you're taking up your hour to talk about your dogs and your cats versus getting great answers, but this is your time, you paid for it. But I rarely am right at an hour. It's always a little over, but I also pad my calendar. I have it booked into my booking site where I have at least 30 to 45 minutes between clients. So I can go a little over.
Yeah, me too.
Stage cleanse, pee, grab a snack, grab water, reset myself before my next client.
I always try to do at least half an hour in between if I'm doing more than one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about you, Johnie?
No, because I can't leave a person with the question. And if you have a question, I got to answer it because I just do. That's part of my, I just have to. If you got another question, I have to answer it.
Me too.
Most of the time, I read fast and I deliver the answer in a package that's easy for you to understand. So it's not like I just said blah, 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 next question. And you're like, wait, what did you say? No, they understand because I explain as I go along. And then I wrap it up in a bow and then you got your answer and you're good. We go to the next question. But that doesn't take all day. And so when you book a 30-minute session and you got 3 questions, we're done in 10 minutes. So it's like, what else you want to know? But sometimes they have one question and something comes out and then they have another question, but it wasn't part of their original questions they wrote down. And so we get to the 30 minutes and they was like, oh, thank you so much. I said, do you have any more questions? I do, but I was just, come on, because there's a whole hour, there's an hour, not hour and a half, half an hour between you and the next person. So let's go.
I know. I'm so bad at it. I can't break off.
Time management ever.
I can't do it though.
It's like an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm just listening. I'm like, okay.
I don't want it to sound like I'm like cold towards my clients or anything like that.
We want to be more like you.
We have to be like you.
It was really hard to set that boundary because when I first started, someone kind of manipulated me into going for 2.5 hours.
Oh, really?
And I said, I was so exhausted after that. I said, never again. And so I always give a polite warning. And some of this too, and this is going to sound, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I hope no one's offended. When I taught daycare, we were told to, before transitions, give a warning to the kids. Okay, in a few minutes, we're going to clean up and we're going to, in 10 minutes, we're going to clean up. We're going to do this. In 5 minutes, we're going to clean up. We're going to do this. As soon as the song is done, we're going to clean up. And, so it's just kind of a habit for me now is before transition, like before the hour is up. Okay, we got a few minutes left. You have time for, 2 or 3 more questions.
There's one person, 2 people I read for that I will say, you got one more question. Do you have one more question? We got time for one more question is what I say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's because they don't have a predetermined list of questions. They're just, I need to get this new nail polish. Can you just okay, really right now?
Several clients where I've had to honestly adopt that, and I have to be very firm. And I will say those are the.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I hope they're. Fuck it. They're watching. I have to be very clear. Okay, we've got 50 because they will test my boundaries and they really will go, okay, well, I have 5 more questions. And I'm like, I am so sorry. We started right at the time.
Yeah.
No, we have to end right because it's going to turn into 18 more questions. So what you have to do is book and they will though, because I had set that boundary up front because they played me twice and it's not just one, it's a couple different people. They will, one lady will immediately book for the next day. I'm like, this heifer here. I love her though, because when we get into I'm like, ooh, girl, yes, this is juicy. So, it's mutually beneficial. But yes, I want to be more like these, Seanna.
Me too.
And it's just about doing it politely. Now, I don't know, actually, I always joke about this. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist. It's a comedian. He plays the role of a therapist. He talks to other comedians. And when their time is up, he plays gentle parting music on, that just comes out of nowhere. And the clients know that their time is up. And I always joke, I'm going to have some parting music.
But no, for real.
You know what the music means.
One of my really good friends is one of my clients because she insists on paying. God bless her, whatever. And she's like, no, dude, you're shitty with boundaries, Adrian. She's like, you have got to set a timer. And when that timer goes off, end it. She's like, or start playing music or something. Because she's like, you'll be sitting there. She's like, you do it with me. So God, I know you do it with other people. They'll be 30 minutes over. And you're just like, okay, well, the Ace of Pentacles. And you're just like, shut up. She said,
yeah, so I think the advice that I would give to you guys that are like trying to work on that is to check. I'm always checking the time every, like, you know, it's just
The thing is,
of my
I know
phone.
what time it is.
I always check.
I keep the
I see
time.
that
I
there's
just don't
10
tell
minutes
the
left.
person no.
I will tell them 10 minutes left. We got time for 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah.
You know, if it's
what we're telling you is we do that mess. But
I know what time it is. I do it anyway.
That's what we telling you. She told me get a timer. I got a big old timer right here. I'm looking at the thing. I know what time we started. I even have my.
But you have to make yourself. You have to make yourself do it.
I have
it's
no
hard.
boundaries.
Does your timer have a big bell on it? Big ass bell.
You guys know you can set a you can set something in Zoom. So I will get a ping, and it'll go ping, ping as it's overtime. And people are like, "What's that noise?" That's just my timer telling me.
That means you're done, boo. But what's your next question?
Girl, tell me more about your childhood trauma that we took up 45 minutes of your 1 hour session to talk about.
And I know I'm not, I mean, come on, I'm not a therapist or anything, but I get so involved in the question and the situation that I go, wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's some people you get kind of attached. You're like, oh, I really, really hope that this works out. Like,
Let's look at
I have a hard time because one of my pet peeves is interrupting people and being interrupted. That is because I guess it's that 20 years in corporate America and watching people over talk, and that just it grinds my gears. And I think that's why those sessions, because I'm like waiting for that moment to go, okay, let's move. And it's just I struggle with that.
my ADHD.
All right, we have to really
I'm excited. Let's interject. I'm so bad about it.
That's why, like, when I'll like notice, and I try not, and like, I never want to come across like I'm trying to run somebody else's life. But when I see somebody want to talk, I'll wait till somebody finishes and then go, "Hey, Johnie, what were you gonna say?" Because it's just I'm so used to doing it in corporate, making sure that everybody has an opportunity to say something. It's that.
Blip, 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 blip.
Jen Lynn says she gets nosy and has to do deeper dives. I have to catch myself doing that too, Jen Lynn. Girl. Ooh, girl, do you see this right here? Hold on a second. If you don't mind, let me ask another question.
And then I'm asking questions, and then I'm having to answer them, right?
Yeah.
So, are there any decks that you feel are overrated, you guys? Like, is there?
It's called The Wild Unknown.
Oh,
I should have brought it as show and tell, but everybody loves it, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm gonna find it because I don't get it.
okay. How about you, Seanna?
I can't think of one in particular, but I know the ones that I personally won't read again are the Archangel Power Tarot. I, for some reason, now maybe not everybody who reads that deck feels this way, but I felt like that deck's energy was so full of itself. That's the only deck I felt that way with. And then the other one was the Toast Tarot, which is a really good deck, but I personally, I just didn't click. But yeah, it's that Archangel's Power Tarot. I'm like, get off your high horse. You're a deck of cards.
You are so conceited.
I don't know why I picked that up with that deck. I have no idea.
How about you, Adrian?
I have yet to come across one, only because I don't think of it as it's not worth the hype. I will just go, oh, that's just not for me. And then, I'm
going to change my answer.
Okay.
The Toast Tarot, I don't get that. It looks weird. It's goofy. I can't.
Which one?
The 12th tarot.
Yeah, 12 tarot.
Mhm.
It's confusing.
But I got that angel one too, and I don't use it. This
Yeah, I
is the
think
death
that's
card.
the one.
Call it death.
That's death.
Call it death. Call it death. It's okay.
Huh.
Prince, a page of Ariel. Why? It's like, why?
Ariel's an angel. Why would why? Why?
The whole thing, why? It goes in the big box over here that of the cards I barely use. I don't throw them away, but I might use you now and then.
So, Johnie, you sent me this question. What are some of your YouTube tarot pet peeves? So, what are some of your YouTube tarot pet peeves?
Okay, so I'll have a cop-out answer. When people
no MF. No question. So you gotta come 100. Almost called you out your name. Don't you dare.
when people do readings and their cards are already spread out,
Yes.
that's one. It's like I want to see the process. Not that you made it up or nothing. I'm pretty sure you didn't.
You never know.
But I want to see the process of you shuffle and pick and all of that. That way I know in my heart of hearts it was random and whatever. And the other one is not the people, it's the comment section of people who are trying to control the people on the TV or on the screen. Don't play with your hair like they used to say to Seanna.
I've been doing it this whole thing, in my damn face.
Don't shuffle so loud like they
So
used
loud. Yeah.
Oh, or you shuffle too much.
to. Yes, because I haven't learned the shuffle of the soft yet.
So-
It's like, do you realize what sound is? Please Google it. And
Mhm.
like they want me to do what they want me to do. That I cannot stand. This is why my rule number 2:
Don't tell him what to do.
don't tell me what to do. That's my pet peeve.
What about you, Adrian?
Mine is about give credit where credit's due. So if you see somebody else doing a reading, when you jump on the bandwagon, give the other readers you saw credit. So, I saw, like, for example, I was like, hey, I was watching both the fifth column and he talked about this. I want to do a reading about it. It's just that authenticity and that integrity that means a lot, especially when you have a bigger channel than the person you stole the idea from, because then it's going to seem like you're the one who came up with that idea. That means that you are a liar. And if you're a liar, you'll steal. And if you steal, you'll kill. You have no integrity.
Yeah.
It takes 5 seconds to say, I was watching so-and-so say so-and-so, and it gave me the idea. Give credit.
Mm-hmm. Even if you can't remember who exactly it was, because I've had that happen where I'm like, I saw this on another reader's channel, and if I can remember who it was, I'll link them. I've definitely done that before.
Give credit. That's it. We're all a community. We all need to support. Nobody has one particular idea that's just original. So if you did, you'd be a gazillion. You wouldn't be on YouTube. You'd be on national television. So just give credit.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, there's, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I love to watch readers. I love to watch a lot of readers, a lot of different readers, and I love to see their style and their and what kind of mind they have, what comes to them through their channeling, and I just be nice. just be nice. Just, it doesn't really cost you anything to be nice to anybody, everybody. You don't have to be their friends. You don't have to, have tea with them, whatever. But you can be nice, and so that's my pet peeve, is sometimes people are not, just not nice for whatever reason. And it's just, I don't know. I don't get mean people. So don't want that. So we
Sienna.
Again.
You see Sienna twice now. We're gonna take it personally next time.
Over corporate. You see corporate Barbie, Adrian kicking in right now.
just
Not corporate Barbie.
That's my
I'm just a bad interrupter, and I don't do it because I want to dominate. It's because I get so excited that I can't help it, but I'm learning how to help it. So I thought I was being skipped, like, okay, I gotta be patient. No, you know what bugs me is I'm gonna piggyback on whoever said the comment section, because the one thing that bugs me, this happens more often. This happens actually a lot more often than you might think. Is I did a live stream. It is no longer live. Someone's watching the playback and they're leaving comments thinking they're in the live chat, and then they get upset at me. They get upset at me for not responding to them. And it's not just the same person. A lot of people have done this. I just ignore it when it happens. I laugh when it happens. Technology is hard sometimes. I totally get that, but I always get such a kick out of it. Somebody is like leaving all these comments and they're like, Sienna, why aren't you seeing my comments? Why aren't you responding? Or I tend to heart a lot of comments that I see to show that I've seen them. Sometimes I don't see all of them, and somebody gets upset because I did not heart their comment. It's like, I'm sorry, hon, it was probably a great comment. I just didn't see it.
Oh God.
Adrian's camera's off. Johnny's glasses are off. This got serious. But yeah. You guys are laughing like you've been through that.
Oh, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you.
I had to actually put the laptop down.
Because you are so right. You are so right.
That hit so close to home.
I laugh now when it happens. I'll just like, well, they'll figure it out. The other thing that bugs me, there's not too much that bugs me about tarot on YouTube, but the other thing that does bug me is a reader that's like doing a video. It's supposed to be like a short video, but they spend half of it talking about unrelated stuff. On stream, on stream, it's fine because we spend most of the time on topic. We might spend 10 minutes in the beginning chatting and getting comfortable. I think that's fine. But when it's supposed to be like a 10-minute video on something, because there's a lady that I used to watch, I won't name names, she's a perfectly good reader. She would read on stuff from the news. And the video would say 10 minutes. She would spend like 5 minutes talking about the pajamas she and her husband got for Christmas. And you know, when you find you're constantly double tapping to get to the goddamn reading, that's what bugs me. On stream, I think it's fine because most of the time is spent on topic compared to off topic.
Lord Jesus, please get your child Sienna because she on one now. I am personally with the shits tonight, so I am not watching this because I'm egging her on, Jesus, and I need you to swoop down and put your child in check.
Oh Lord.
And I am here for it. I am 100% here for it.
I'm just saying.
I know. You speak the truth. That's all.
Hello, everybody. We're going to do a reading on Trump's hair today. But today I went to the flea market.
That's exactly it.
Just make a vlog. Why you got to, I mean,
Stop.
again, you do you.
Oh, everyone in the chat is dying of laughter too.
There are some readers I have actually unsubscribed from. Because I can't get in. I'm very impatient. Get in, get out, be done.
You know,
I've been guilty of it too, though. I will admit I have done that myself.
I just did one where I recorded a Feel Good Friday, and it took me a minute now to get to what I was gonna read on, but I was like, "Ooh, Adrian, shut up." And I literally just abruptly and I'm throwing cards because I was like, "You rambling? Shut up. Nobody cares."
I usually ramble at the beginning because I'm trying to kill the dead air while I'm shuffling, but sometimes it's like just shuffle.
Yeah. When this is one of my really biggest ones is when a reader will get mad at something that somebody said in the chat and they will do a whole show about it. Like, why are you allowing this person to get under your skin so much to the point where now you are turning red and your eyes are bulging out of your head and you're like, that's not what I was like. Dude,
there's a timeout button.
Because I will say, because I did it personally. I did it, and I remember when I did it too. It was me, Adrian, and Lauren Margulies were on at the same time, and it was everything I said. That person in the chat had something negative to say, and I'm like,
hate that.
And I had a meltdown. I had a tantrum, and I even threw in some words that ain't in the dictionary because I'm thinking to myself, why in the world? Every time I say something positive, you got to say something negative. Like, and so I stopped the show. We pulled this card to the side of the road. I had to turn around and do one of these. And then I had to block this heifer at the same time. And so
I don't remember this.
It happens.
I've done it once. I try not to engage
everywhere I go.
I try not to engage the trolls, but one time somebody on chat, or maybe two times, some people on chat said something really disgusting and like sexual and was like asking stuff that was just gross. And so I told them to shut up and get out. And then a moderator blocked them. I said, that's disgusting.
I'll be blocking people on stealth mode before they even get that sentence.
And then after that, I'm like, just don't engage.
It happens. Because sometimes, though, I will say this. No, you should not engage them because remember, there are 200 people watching you or whatever the case may be. 50 of them are chatting and all of them adore you or like your channel. They're all communicating perfectly well with each other and with you. That one person who stands out should not be the focus of the attention when all the other people are being fantastic. You ain't paying no attention to them the same way you did to this other person, but sometimes you got to set a bit straight.
I know sometimes it
Let me be fair. You can say whatever you want about me. I'll probably agree with it or find it funny. I will block when you are disrespectful to somebody that's on the screen with me.
Yes, that's my
rule. I'm very mama bear.
I don't deal with that.
And that's where I have zero. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah. That is just.
And then with the people that ask the really, say the really gross stuff, I've decided I'm no longer just going to engage with that because some of them get off on that being called out.
Yeah.
But there was one time the guy was actually really embarrassed. I don't know what he expected, but I called him out and he was like, oh, and then blocked.
So you said earlier, Seanna, that you stopped doing political, and for why did you decide to stop doing political?
Because I never really liked it. I'm just going to be honest. It helped. To be fair, though, it helped me to learn tarot. It helped me to understand what was happening in the world at that time, and it was actually a huge relief that I felt like I could understand stuff that wasn't being talked about in the media. And I liked helping other people. But I did not like feeling as though I was gossiping because I'd always get requests, oh, read on Trump's mental state, read on what's happening with Ivanka and Jared. And I would do it because it was asked of me. But I decided I didn't want to be like that. I always wanted to help people to learn and grow. I wanted to learn something and then turn around and teach it to someone else. and just be more positive. I didn't really like the negativity that surrounded the news and the politics and stuff. I didn't want to be known for that anymore.
Yeah.
And I felt guided by spirit to stop. It was not even a gentle warning. It was like, Seanna, stop.
It's an ugly energy.
It is a hard energy.
So I listened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard energy to allow into your sphere.
I commend the people who do it and can handle that, and they, maybe enjoy it. But for me, I never really liked it.
Yeah, I don't really like it either. I mean, I can do like Clarence Thomas. I think
You're just real selective. No.
Once in a while on someone else's stream, if they ask, I'll join, but I will not do it myself.
Yeah. Right. Okay, that's good. But you do political, Adrian, on certain days, but mostly you do a lot of chakra and a lot of.
I still do political. The thing is that I used to pre-record. I used to do, every week I would pick topics and record them, and then, I'm a fancy host, so I want to edit, do whatever. And I just noticed that doing that and keeping up Lentil Healing and having a 75+ hour work week with my regular job was starting to. I felt it started to feel like work. And I always said that the moment it starts to feel like work, I have to reevaluate. And so I was like, if it's a topic that I feel very compelled, I will grab it. Because, you got to set up. We got to get lights and cameras and blah, blah, blah. And trying to do that in the full-time job. I don't know why it's different with lives, because we just go and we do and then we're done. But even that's hard because I'm like, okay, it's 8:54. I got to still clean up and then eat dinner and get ready for work next day. But it was just doing the recordings it was just hard. I'll still do it, but it was just like, okay, time management, something has to balance out until I can, and work just got crazier, not calmer. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out how I want to still do the political, but also not go crazy at the same time, just because I'm going to be so doggone tired.
And Johnie, I see all of your efforts to try to move the conversation out of the political realm and into other things. And I appreciate all of you guys for doing that, because that really, it helps the collective. And I want to just thank you guys for acknowledging and just sort of highlighting the fact that there is more to life than just politics and gossip and stuff like that. There's life. There is a lot of life to live and a lot of life to look at. That's not necessary.
Can I say as well, though, I do political readings, yes, but I'm not a political reader. And if you look in my channel, yes, there's a lot of political reads, but there's a lot of stuff in there that has nothing to do with politics. And I used to get a bunch of eye roll emojis and why are you reading on this when 9 people died on the other side of the world type of thing. And those are the people you got to stop and check. This says Terrell's Apprentice, not your apprentice. This is my stuff. So if I want to read on, which eyelashes are going to be great this fall, then that's what I'm going to do, because it's my channel, my cards, my camera, my microphone. You didn't pay for none of that. I did. Start your own channel and then read on all the despair you want to.
Yeah.
But over here, we got to balance some things out.
And I noticed I got that energy when celebrity readings. I would get so many requests. Read on this celebrity, read on the celebrity. I would read on the celebrity, and then the hate and vitriol would come in. And you're wrong. And I'm like, you asked for the readings, you jackasses. And I'm like, you know what? Done. Yeah. I'm not reading on. I'm just not. Can you read on Normani one more time? I don't give up. I don't even know what NFA is. And you got the facts wrong. She did. If I got the facts wrong, then her website is wrong, because I'm literally reading her website as I'm doing the reading because I'm like, stop. That's how I felt about celebrities. I had to stop it.
People get so emotional.
Nowadays, if I do read on a celebrity, it's either a medium reading for one who's died or it's the past life. Because some of those turned out really, really interesting. But I started to get the feeling like, well, if I'm publicly like gossiping more or less about someone, that opens me up to being gossiped about. And I don't want that. So I don't want to do that to someone else, whether I meant to or not, which back then I did not mean it that way, but watching back my old videos, that was how it was coming across. And I felt so uncomfortable with it. I'm like, that's not who I am.
Yeah. And the thing about, being a shaman, is one of the tenets is don't gossip.
Oh, yes. And I broke that tenet.
So it's very hard because we're all human,
Gossip. Don't invade on free will. We have a lot. There's a lot we got to sign in the shaman contract, y'all. I advise to really not do it unless you really, really want to. A lot.
And then stuff with like the celebrity gossip or whatever, it's like, I don't even care about that. I care more about spiritual growth and awakening and mediumship and stuff. I don't care if those videos only get like 10 views, where my political ones used to get 20,000 or whatever. I want to do what makes me happy and makes me feel like I should be doing.
And Seanna, I have said this when you stop doing, and I know I've told you this, but like when you stop doing political readings, you're like, no, I'm going to focus on this. I was like, yes, live your truth. You have to live your truth.
And I'll be honest, my channel grew very, very slowly after that. And I don't get the same amount of views anymore, but I don't care. It feels good putting out what I want to put out and what I feel is important. Not just, well, the orange guy did this in the news today. It's like, well, yeah, he's always doing dumb shit. Like,
Yeah.
So can we do one more reading before we go? Can we read on the future of YouTube tarot? What is the future of YouTube tarot? After all the stuff is blown up. Well, there's always going to be stuff, right?
There'll always be something to read on. As long as there's news, there's always going to be people who read on stuff in the news.
And when you say YouTube tarot, YouTube political tarot, YouTube gossip celebrity tarot?
It's all tarot tube, and that's pretty much anybody who reads tarot cards on YouTube.
So is it just tarot tube we're reading on?
Yeah, tarot tube.
I hate it when it starts with the moon. Really? Ooh, interesting. And you know what? This makes sense.
What the hell?
This makes sense. Yeah, I see this. Yeah, so fascinating.
Whoever wants to go, you can just Johnie, you, Seanna.
No, wait, who wants to go first?
Go, Seanna.
Okay. I have the 10 of Pentacles. The channels that are already established and are doing quite well will continue to do well. I have that. A challenge, though. There's something like self-defense, but I was getting with the self-defense, it's like fighting against the algorithm and monetization. It's like fighting it with YouTube. Like I recently had one of my old videos demonetized because of technically it added up to 2 minutes of music that used to be free, but then the label said, no, it's not free. And so instead of, and it doesn't let you shut monetization off when that happens. You have to keep it on so that it pays it to whoever. I decided to be petty and just delete the whole video. I wasn't going to deal with that. So I was picking up that more people might be fighting with that kind of stuff. I have, well, let's see. I think that in the future, more people will start channels. I see a lot of viewers that they start off like, oh, I don't really know much about tarot. This is really cool. They get inspired from watching the different readers and they go and start their own channel. That's actually what happened with me. I was learning tarot. I came across Jen Lin and readings by the Empress and somebody else. And then I was like, well, this is so much fun. I'm going to start my own channel. And so I'm seeing lots of other people are going to start doing that. I also have the Moon card. And I don't know if I don't really know what this one's telling me. it's like kind of murky what Google and what YouTube wants to do. I'm getting this is like at the corporate level.
It's the same things.
They don't know what they want to do about the tarot readers necessarily, but I do have in the near future judgment. More people are just going to be speaking their truth.
Same freaking
More people speaking their truth. And I also have Knight of Cups offer. There will still be monetization. There will still be sponsorships. Like DeBry likes to sponsor a lot of the different readers, send us decks and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It'll sort of continue as normal, but there's going to be a little bit of fighting at the corporate level, like with Google and YouTube, and they don't really know what to do about the tarot readers.
I got this almost the same cards, but a little bit of a lot of identical cards, similar reading, but a little bit of a different context. I'm getting what's interesting is mine started off with the moon. The challenge was the King of Pentacles. There's a financial issue going on here. And the victory card was in a past for tarot, YouTube tarot. The High Priestess and the Knight of Cups at the base of the crown, and Page of Swords, and then here and now. But it's telling me that it used to be very financially beneficial, but it's not going to be anymore. And that makes sense because videos that I had, my payouts are like half of what they used to be. Same amount of content. But it's like, at first I was like, what am I doing wrong? But then I'm noticing the trend, even big. It's kind of like that with the YouTube because that's not what people are. I think that the YouTubes of the world are like, that's not what's getting the spice anymore. We're going to put our money into what's ticking in the ad space, because really the ad space is what's kind of dictating a lot of that. The world card is in the environment. This may be, it's going to be very different is how I'm going to put it politely. The outcome the card goes that, and I said this a couple years ago, and I remember saying it to certain readers, and they looked at me like I had two heads. And I said, you need to have a plan, because political tarot and certain other tarot topics that you're doing, that's not going to be feasible much longer. And they're like, well, no, as long as so-and-so and there's politics. I'm like, no, I don't think it is. And so the word of warning is get a plan together. What are you going to do? How are you going to keep ahead of your channel, keep ahead of your content in the future? Can you pivot with the times? Are we still locked down into doing certain types of readings that we're not going to be able to get our own way? But I get judgment for the outcome. I think this is out of our hands. Like you're saying, there's something at the corporate level that we're not going to have control over. No.
I get there is going to be a upswing of shiesty people. For YouTube, here with the Justice meets the Tower and the Seven of Swords in the middle, the balance is going to be completely shattered. This is not just like a political thing. This is YouTube, period. Because a lot of people that I have been observing through me watching YouTube over the past couple of weeks with stuff outside of the political realm start specifically to make this a job. Yeah. And they want to be, I get it, the Four of Wands and the Four of Cups. I get it, because you want what they have, or they make it look easy. And so then you try to go do it too. And that's fine. Go do it because it looks fun, but don't do it because you want to get things.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot of sensationalism, more than likely, because there's some schemes and scams going on. So I know that some people, they like to read on politics specifically because it plays to a person's fears. And everything they tell you is a disaster. And then you come back next week to see what disaster has now unfolded. So I mean, you watch what you want to watch, but there is going to be a lot more of the shystiness coming towards YouTube.
And I can see that based off of some of the personal readings I've been getting, where people are going, well, I went to this reader and they gave an exact reading to do this and another. And I'm like, I need to use a little bit of discernment. Mm-hmm. That's like the Nigerian prince that you just met says you're going to ask you for $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not all of us on here are for the highest good.
And it's not just tarot, it's anybody who starts a channel. Some do it because they genuinely are passionate. Some do it because they want the views and they turn into content farms, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I was bored. And
I started
Is that why?
YouTube. My very first channel is because I saw other people doing it and I wanted to do that. Not because it fit me or it was right for me. I liked the way they did it and I wanted to do, and then it failed.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it was supposed to, because it ain't for you. You're trying to live somebody else's dream, boo-boo. So that
I was like, I'm bored. I'm not bored, but I'm kind of bored. We'll see. And it was like to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And because I'm so introverted and I don't like attention, believe it or not. And I was so dumbfounded that it did what it did that at this point I kind of can't. So yeah, I mean I could, but I was just I ended up growing to it. Went way past what I ever expected it to do.
I started my channel because I was just learning tarot and I wanted a way to record my progress. And I didn't care who was watching or not watching when I first started. And it turned out Jen Lynn was watching, and Johnie was watching, and Lena was watching.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful to, there's a whole bunch of readers that helped me get where I am.
I was watching.
You guys were watching, like.
I've been watching you
But
forever.
when I started it, it was like, oh, I just need a way to record my progress and look back on it. And then it actually turned into something that I'm very passionate about now.
Mhm.
Some days I would look at your readings and I go, is she doing a reading from work?
A lot of times I would.
Setups,
Yeah.
when you used to do it in the kitchen, when you had your Reiki studio, like yeah.
She used to do it in the basement of the church. That's what
I used to
Yes.
the upstairs room. I used to work at a daycare that was inside of a big church, and upstairs was the break room. And I would shut the door and lock it, the Bible study room, and I would do videos in the church on my lunch break.
That's so cool.
And then during the day, I would be thinking all day about what am I going to make videos on? What am I going to do next on my channel? And I actually ended up quitting that job around the time the pandemic hit.
Oh.
Now this is what I do. I take clients.
Yay. Now
I take
you're
clients.
independent.
I'm branching out now to teaching Reiki because the monetization and stuff with YouTube, apparently it's been like splashed almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they
they gotta adapt and find other
5
things.
times. I'm not going to try to monetize because I don't really care, and it just seems like too much. It just seems like the energy is weird because they're taking advantage, right? They talk about the ads and they play ads on your channel whether you're monetized or not. So who's getting screwed here? So I'm like, all right, forget it. Just forget it because people want to know what's going to happen in their lives, and some people want to see it, some people don't want to see it. This, what's the future is we've been working hard. That's what I'm just saying. People are working hard on their channels and everything, and they're still worried because YouTube is not. Nah, I'm going to say YouTube is not fair. It's not fair.
But it isn't.
So, so here we are. We are, everybody's doing pretty well now. But things are changing. Things are changing quickly. And a lot of people are going to have to go within and look at how they're doing their channel, what they're doing with their channels, all of that stuff. A lot of channels are going to go dormant for a while until they figure out what the next thing is, where they fit in, what's going on. What's the newest thing? And that's probably what you were saying too, Adrian, is YouTube is like, what is going to do it for us? Is
I
it
keep getting it's out of our control.
I'm seeing a lot of rebranding in the future. A lot of channels are going to rebrand.
That's why I say have your exit. I have all of my employees. They think I'm the weirdest boss they've ever had because I'm like, what's your exit strategy? 3 weeks into your role, you have to have your exit strategy. I don't want to hire you unless you're trying to keep it moving, trying to keep it pimping, which means you're always, what can I do to make what I deliver better? Because that means you want to grow. And so we're just going to have to really take a look at what is our exit strategy if this goes in a wildly different direction.
Well, we're doing it. We're doing it here. Like we're talking about tarot. We're talking about, the oracle cards and all that stuff. We're moving it, trying to move it in a different direction. But, and I don't know.
Can I answer a question in the chat? Not necessarily trust leches. TikTok is actually, wow, how do I put this? And I'm going to say it. TikTok is worse with the censorship and the shadow banning. It is absolutely effing wild. And I'm giving TikTok a timeline too, because their hypocrisy is extremely obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I've decided to stay away from TikTok for my own mental health, because I know all the different filters, the face slimming, the body slimming, it's so fake.
Yeah.
And so many people are convinced that it's real. I'm like, I need to stay away from that. That's just me. I will not use TikTok.
Now, I'm quite frankly addicted because it's hilarious and it's funny as hell to me. But I also can compartmentalize and also see the platform and the things that they do for what it is. And so, and I have this gut feeling another new platform is going to pop up very soon, because these we old people took over to TikTok like we took over Facebook, and the young kids are already in the basement. It's a little underground right now.
Because it went from Vine to Snapchat to TikTok, so it's going to be something else.
Fine.
No, it's coming sooner rather than later, because TikTok is.
The kids are in the basement.
Yeah,
they're coming to get us.
Yeah. And they're going to get sued too, I think, soon. You can all look it up. There's some things going on that I just think it's going wild.
I'd rather sit back with my popcorn and watch the storm from the outside than try and figure out, oh my God, how do I keep my account up and this and that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being with me. We went way over. This is how I do readings.
Boundaries.
It's okay on stream, though.
It's an hour later. Doing the reading.
That just means
it's like, aren't you done yet? Wasn't that a 30-minute reading? This is how I roll. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know I screwed up the time. I don't know what's going on with this brain today. No, it was 2 days ago. Thank you, Adrian. Go over to Red Lentil Healing and give Adrian some love. She's doing some great Friday. Talk about your Friday show that you do, Adrian.
Oh, just Feel Good Fridays. This needs to help raise the vibration. Some people are just feeling real blue and don't know how to get out of blue. So I just wanted to, whether it's a positive news story, just a positive energy, something for we can look back on the week and smile before we go into the weekend. And
go to Adrian's channel for her products, which are off the chain. So good. So especially this one, this Pain Be Gone. I'm telling you, I had a little knuckle right here, really sore. I put that on it. Okay, great. Seanna Rose, thank you so much. Oh, look at there's Seanna Rose.
Oh, every time. Yay. You finally got the book. I'm so glad.
Finally got it.
Get her coloring book at a Barnes & Noble or Amazon near you, please. And thank you. Always a positive.
Goose says yes, do that. Johnie, thank you so much for being here. I know that I screwed your schedule over.
That's all right. We will play it by ear. I am the captain of spontaneity, so it's
go over to Johnny's channel. You will not be disappointed. It is always entertaining and always very, very on point. And
it's true.
So I love you guys. I will see you Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So thank you again, and walk in beauty and have a great rest of the week. Bye, guys.